Hello, so we are gonna do, I feel like this is in a better position. Like that? There we go. Now the mic is only just barely in the way. Yesterday, I turned the light on. I waited. I had some behind the stories, which I don't film. I record. I do not film them. So I got the behind the stories done. I did one Life and Adventures of Santa Claus, and then I realized I forgot to actually film the last one. I did like 5 things yesterday, and I forgot the last one was the only one that I should have recorded, and I realized like immediately after I finished, and I was like, dang it! And I'm not going to record like the same thing again. That's just annoying. So it is what it is. I gotta get downloaded my save. My iPad has on my phone I have a screen protector that's the glossy kind. But on both my laptop and my iPad, I have the matte one so that it doesn't glare back at me while I'm doing stuff. It makes it easier to see things too. Now in here, glaring on the screens isn't a big deal, but when I'm like editing and stuff, it is a big deal. So I have, yes, I realize on a MacBook, it kind of like changes the graphics. I do not have my MacBook to do graphic design work. I have it to edit audio, so as long as I can see the spikes in the audio, we're good, and it's way better than my last computer, so. All right, the Life and Adventures of Santa Claus 0202. That would be part 2. We are in his, I don't remember what we called it, adulthood or whatever. That's the wrong folder. I need to move some of these books off my computer. Like Phantom of the Opera is still on here. So is the shorts, even though I got all those uploaded already. I'll get them moved off eventually. I usually do things in batches. I'm like, oh, there's not whatever. Usually I'll have like, actually I just had a book go live and I haven't moved it off. Usually when I have audiobooks go live on Audible, I'll do the hard drive shuffle. And I move everything so like on a normal basis, all my stuff is on my laptop and then it backs up to a Dropbox folder. When I'm finished, I move it off of both of those onto an external hard drive. And I have 2 right now, although I never filled up the first one, but it was formatted for PC and you can't just like I mean, I guess I could like move everything to Dropbox and then reformat it and then move it back onto there. It's not a bad idea actually, so I'm not wasting space. That is a weekend project, not a middle of the week project. Anyways, so I have all the stuff on there, and then I plan on, once one is filled up, making a list of everything on there. I was trying to keep up with the list as I was adding stuff on there, but then I kept forgetting. So I'm like, well, when we get one filled up, we'll just do that. But I buy their 5 terabyte portable ones, and then I buy like a case on Amazon for it. So it's in this like protected, it zips up, it holds the cord in there, it holds the hard drive in there. My preferred hard drive brand is Seagate. I have for work, I have a desktop one that is a like 8 terabyte or 10 terabyte or something that like my computer backs up to. My laptops, I just have backup to Dropbox. Because they're usually, if I lose like my audio and stuff, so like I have all my like documents and stuff, but like the computer itself, like any software, I can just download again, so it's not that big of a deal. I do have all my like plugins and stuff for my recording softwares uploaded to Dropbox too, so that like all my presets are saved. Speaking of which, I upgraded all of my software for Black Friday, and this weekend I will be working on getting them all set up. I don't know how long it's going to take, so I don't want to mess with that midweek. But I'll be doing that this weekend. Apparently, the editing software has this really cool thing where you can search for words in the audio. So that'll be helpful. Like if an author says, hey, you said this and it should have been this, and then they don't give me the timestamp, I can ideally search for it. Anyways, we're 5 minutes in. Let's actually read. Today we'll be continuing The Life and Adventures of Santa Claus by L. Frank Baum. 2. How Claus Made the First Toy. Truly our Claus had wisdom, for his good fortune but strengthened his resolve to befriend the little ones of his own race. He knew his plan was approved by the immortals, else they would not have favored him so greatly, so he began at once to make acquaintance with mankind. He walked through the valley to the plain beyond, and crossed the plain in many directions to reach the abodes of men. These stood singly or in groups of dwellings called villages. Singly. These stood singly or in groups of dwellings called villages, and in nearly all the houses, whether big or little, Claus found children. The youngsters soon came to know his merry, laughing face and the kind glance of his bright eyes. And the parents, while they regarded the young man with some scorn for loving children more than their elders, were content that the girls and boys had found a playfellow who seemed willing to amuse them. So the children romped and played games with Claus, and the boys rode upon his shoulders, and the girls nestled in his strong arms, and the babies clung fondly to his knees. Wherever the young man chanced to be, the sound of childish laughter followed him. And to understand this better, you must know that children were much neglected in those days, and received little attention from their parents, so that it became to them a marvel that so goodly a man as Claus devoted his time to making them happy. And those who knew him were, you may be sure, very happy indeed. The sad faces of the poor and abused grew bright for once. The cripple smiled despite his misfortune. The ailing ones hushed their moans, and the grieved ones their cries, when their merry friend came nigh to comfort them. Only at the beautiful palace of the Lord of Lurd and the frowning castle of the Baron Braun was Claus refused admittance. There were children at both places, but the servants at the palace shut the door in the young stranger's face, and the fierce baron threatened to hang him from an iron hook on the castle walls. Whereupon Claus sighed and went back to the poorer dwellings where he was welcome. After a time, the winter drew near. The flowers lived out their lives and faded and disappeared. The beetles burrowed far into the warm earth. The butterflies deserted the meadows, and the voice of the brook grew hoarse, as if it had taken cold. One day snowflakes filled all the air in the laughing valley, dancing boisterously toward the earth and clothing in pure white raiment the roof of Claus's dwelling. At night, Jack Frost rapped at the door. "Come in," cried Claus. "Come out," answered Jack. Did Jack have a voice yet? I don't think so. No. "Come out," answered Jack, "for you have a fire inside." Save that. Doop doop. Jack Frost. I would like to say, if you listen to the behind the story, just know that I do not condone the behavior of some of these people. Just think, we have improved greatly in some things and not greatly enough in other things in our time. But their time was a very, very, very different time where they did not understand. And since we can't tell them 100 years ago, shame on you for doing that because they're dead, all we can do is do better going forward. That is my stance. If you listen to either behind the stories on either of the last two people, Frank Baum and Brothers Grimm, both of them have super shady stuff in their past. That is all I will say. If you want to go listen to it, listen to it. If you want to Wikipedia it, which is what I do, I want it more for the broad general whatever, and it could very well be that Wikipedia is completely wrong, but I have a bazillion other things going on. I just want a broad overview of these people's lives. If I want to know it, some of you may want to know it, to the tune of several of you do listen to those. Yeah, so some of them have very shady things that they did in their past, as do we all. Some of us are just better than others. Or we do things that are less frowned upon now. Anyways. So Claus came out. He had known Jack Frost in the forest and liked the jolly rogue, even while he mistrusted him. "There'll be rare sport for me tonight, Claus," shouted the sprite. "Isn't this glorious weather? I shall nip scores of noses and ears and toes before daybreak." "If you love me, Jack, spare the children," begged Claus. "And why?" asked the other in surprise. "They are tender and helpless," answered Claus. "But I love to nip the tender ones," declared Jack. "The older ones are tough and tire my fingers." "The young ones are weak and cannot fight you," said Claus. "True," agreed Jack thoughtfully. "Well, I will not pinch a child this night, if I can resist the temptation," he promised. "Good night, Claus." "Good night." The young man went in and closed the door, and Jack Frost ran on to the nearest village. Claus threw a log on the fire, which burned up brightly. Beside the hearth sat Blinky, a big cat given him by Peter the Knook. Her fur was soft and glossy, and she purred never-ending songs of contentment. "I shall not see the children again soon," said Claus to the cat, who kindly paused in her song to listen. "The winter is upon us. The snow will be deep for many days, and I shall be unable to play with my little friends." The cat raised a paw and stroked her nose thoughtfully, but made no reply. So as long as the fire burned and Claus sat in his easy chair by the hearth, she did not mind the weather. So passed many days and many long evenings. The cupboard was always full, but Claus became weary with having nothing to do more than to feed the fire from the big woodpile the Knooks had brought him. One evening he picked up a stick of wood and began to cut it with his sharp knife. He had no thought, at first, except to occupy his time, and he whistled and sang to the cat as he carved away portions of the stick. Puss sat up on her haunches and watched him, listening at the same time to her master's merry whistle, which she loved to hear even more than her own purring songs. Claus glanced at Puss and then at the stick he was whittling, until presently the wood began to have a shape, and the shape was like the head of a cat, with 2 ears sticking upward. Claus stopped whistling to laugh, and then both he and the cat looked at the wooden image in some surprise. Then he carved out the eyes and the nose, and rounded the lower part of the head so that it rested upon a neck. Puss hardly knew what to make of it now, and sat up stiffly as if watching with some suspicion what would come next. Claus knew. The head gave him an idea. He plied his knife carefully and with skill, forming slowly the body of the cat, which he made to sit upon its haunches as the real cat did, with her tail wound around her 2 front legs. The work cost him much time, but the evening was long and he had nothing better to do. Finally he gave a loud and delighted laugh at the result of his labors, and placed the wooden cat, now completed, upon the hearth opposite the real one. Puss thereupon glared at her image, raised her hair in anger, and uttered a defiant mew. The wooden cat paid no attention, and Claus, much amused, laughed again. Then Blinky advanced toward the wooden image to eye it closely and smell of it intelligently. Eyes and nose told her the creature was wood, in spite of its natural appearance, so Puss resumed her seat and her purring. But as she neatly washed her face with her padded paw, she cast more than one admiring glance at her clever master. Perhaps she felt the same satisfaction we feel when we look upon good photographs of ourselves. The cat's master was himself pleased with his handiwork, without knowing exactly why. Indeed, he had great cause to congratulate himself that night, and all the children throughout the world should have joined him rejoicing, for Claus had made his first toy. My husband's alarm just went off. For Claus had made his first toy. Thank you for joining Bite at a Time Books today. while we read a bite of one of your favorite classics. Again, my name is Brie Carlisle, and I hope you come back tomorrow for the next bite of the life and adventures of Santa Claus. All right. Now, if you are not signed up yet for the newsletter and you want to stay up to date, I will, when books drop, announce, hey, this is what we're doing. And I may periodically at other times because some of these books are really long and I don't want you to wait like a year for the next update. So I plan to at least once a month send updates. And if I happen to have a book release in the meantime, I will also notify you guys of that. And then when we have any like voting or anything like that, that will probably be in the monthly newsletter. But today I'm going to use the same format, but just some will be like, here's a brief update and here's a longer update kind of things. Anyways, so today, being the first of the month, I need to get the newsletter ready for today. I haven't done that yet, but I also have like 2 other newsletters that I have to get out. So that is what I'm doing, although I think 2 of them I don't actually have any people subscribed, so it is what it is. Oh my god, my eyelashes are driving me crazy. Anyways, go to the website, bydigitaltimebooks.com. If you're on a PC or a tablet, it will be a pop-up that pops up no matter what page on the website you go to. You can go to the link page, the home page, whatever it is, bydigitaltimebooks.com. And then if you are on a phone, it will be a banner across the top with a black button. I think it's black. Anyways, that says subscribe. You'll click that and then the pop-up will show up for you. So if you want to get subscribed, you'll have the ability to know about giveaways, be able to vote on upcoming books. You'll know what books are coming first. So like the last one that came out was like, hey, or the last one, as of the day that I'm doing this, it will, actually, I guess I can just say what the next one will say. So when Life and Adventures of Santa Claus airs, I'll say, hey, we just finished 5 Days of Shorts. Today we're starting The Life and Adventures of Santa Claus, and next we're doing whatever the next and book is. So you'll always know ahead of time, where like on the podcast itself, I don't announce what the next book is until, I may drop hints on social media, but I don't like actually announce until like the very last day of the book prior. So if you want to know like upcoming stuff, I have done giveaways for like book series, like I did one for the Anne book series. So like giveaways like that, book giveaways. I'm about to, by this, it may have already come out. I don't know. For my trademark applications, I have clothing on there. So I need to get like t-shirts going. So if I have those up and going, they'll be on the website when they are. I'll obviously announce on social media too. I was thinking like fun quotes and stuff from the books. And then what else? I don't know. You should check out the website though. I update it with new stuff. I have all the episodes up on there. I'm slowly working on getting the new intros with the fun song on all the episodes, which is a time-consuming process to go back through almost an entire year of episodes and fix them. But yeah, so you should go check it out. You should sign up for the newsletter, and I will see you guys tomorrow.